Today's video comes from Capitol Hill, a congressional budget hearing, the EPA, climate change, Supreme Court cases, and eventually, someone suggesting a cabinet official drink poison.
When climate change is flooding our streets, poisoning our air, driving up healthcare and disaster costs, how can the EPA justify abandoning that duty to protect Americans to appease polluters under the false flag of economic growth?
Following the law, Section 202 of the Clean Air Act, where does it say anything about fighting global climate change? Loper Bright, Supreme Court case, you familiar with it?
No, I maybe others are. I'm not, but let me ask.
But that's really important. As a member of Congress, Loper Bright says that we as an agency don't have the authority to get creative if Section 202 of the Clean Air Act
No, but you don't have, excuse me, you do not have the right to say
actually
climate
answering your
change
questions.
does not exist, that it's a hoax, and that's where this administration
I
is
understand
coming
you're
from.
upset that you don't know what Loper Bright is. Do you know what the major policies doctrine is?
I'm upset because
You know what the major policies doctrine is?
You know what, let me just
You're a
say
member
this
of
to you.
Congress. You should know.
Well, you have moved from someone who defended the environment to all of a sudden
Being very
making
defensive
a-
about not knowing the two biggest landmark Supreme Court cases of the last
and
year
you are
with
very,
regards to your
you are
question.
very defensive about changing your policy and your positions with regard to the environment. Now,
Okay.
you just tell
Do you want me to tell you what the two biggest
No, I
Supreme Court
want you to
cases
tell
are of the
me.
last few years?
This is what I want you
Michigan
to tell
versus
me.
EPA,
Whoa.
West Virginia versus EPA.
You know, you're here because you need money from us. So halt for the second and wait for the questions and answer the questions.
Well, I answered your question,
No, you
and
didn't.
you didn't like my answer because
did
you
not
don't know what
answer the
Loper Bright is,
question.
because you don't know what the major policies doctrine is.
Chairman, I
Supreme
don't have
Court
to listen
cases.
to this, and I would say
No,
this,
what you should do
that
for your
this
constituents is actually read statute.
budget is at real risk.
Read
Let
your
me tell
Supreme
you,
Court.
this-
I'll save you some time here, because that's the kind of guy I am. They basically argue for a few more minutes about nothing. Then came the grand finale.
Don't-
Say,
Is that your question? I'd say don't. If your cup was filled with glyphosate, I'm telling you as the administrator of EPA, don't drink it.
thank you so much for agreeing to what we need to
I don't know what the question was. You're holding up a cup saying glyphosate.
You know,
Don't drink it. Don't inject it.
maybe you should try doing that. Okay, excuse me. Okay, I'm going to move on to a second question, Mr.
She told the EPA administrator to drink weed killer. At a congressional hearing? On camera. I once ate an entire houseplant and had to go to the vet. Nobody filmed it. Nobody put it on the internet. I had the common decency to do it in private. We have different standards, apparently. Now before I go, I want to address something important. I've been thinking about this. I think Zeldin should show up to the next hearing with full purple hair, just absolute violet, cool as anything. I'd watch that hearing. I would watch it twice. This has been Leonidas Reacts. I've seen a lot of things I can't explain. A dog. The vacuum cleaner. The red dot. Congress.